where Irish surnames began. Before we dive into the oldest names themselves, we need to step back, way back, because the story of Irish surnames is a unique one. Did you know that Ireland was actually the very first country in Europe to adopt the idea of hereditary family names? Long before England, France, or Germany started using them, the Gaelic families of Ireland began attaching specific names to themselves around the 10th century. This wasn't a random decision, it was a way of writing their identity directly into their language. Most of these names started with either O or Mac. The prefix O meant descendant of, while Mac meant son of. This is why O'Connor means descendant of Concabar, and McCarthy means son of Carthag. These names carried more than just bloodlines. They were a complete snapshot of history. A person's surname could instantly tell you what kingdom they came from, which chieftain they served, or which legendary ancestor they belonged to. Ireland was divided into dozens of powerful, named dynasties, and their surnames became unbreakable symbols of loyalty and heritage. It's a miracle any of them survived at all, as wars and colonization wiped out many lineages forever. But the oldest ones still stand strong today. Chapter 2: The O'Brien Dynasty. Our deep dive into the oldest names has to begin with one of the most legendary and powerful surnames still standing: O'Brien. This name doesn't just go back centuries, it traces its origin directly to Brian Boru, the famous High King who ruled Ireland around the year 1000 AD. Brian Boru was much more than a king. He was the unifying force who drove the fearsome Viking invaders from Irish soil, bringing about a golden but brief age of peace. The name O'Brien literally means descendant of Brian, and after the king's historic death, his family proudly claimed this name, cementing their identity for the next 1,000 years. The O'Briens grew into one of Ireland's most dominant dynasties, ruling the entire kingdom of Thomond, which today covers County Clare and surrounding areas. Through centuries of dramatic change, from Norman invasions to English colonization and even the devastating famine years, the O'Briens remained a noble and influential family, showing incredible resilience. Today, O'Brien is one of the world's most recognizable Irish surnames, and every person who carries it, whether they know it or not, carries the true bloodline of Ireland's last great High King. Chapter 3: The O'Neills of Ulster. Next, we travel north to the legendary Kingdom of Ulster to encounter a name that absolutely drips with royal blood: O'Neill. The lineage of O'Neill stretches back even further than the O'Briens, nearly 1,500 years, to a time around the 5th century, the very era of St. Patrick. Their ancient ancestor was Niall of the Nine Hostages, a figure so powerful that legend claims he captured 9 foreign princes, one of whom may have been the future St. Patrick himself. The name literally means descendant of Niall, connecting hundreds of thousands of modern families to this earliest line of Irish high kings. Throughout history, the O'Neills stood as the ultimate defenders of Irish independence, serving as the constant, unyielding opposition to English rule. They led vast armies in pivotal conflicts, most notably during the tumultuous 9 Years' War under the command of Hugh O'Neill in the late 1500s. Even when their ancestral castles were taken and their lands lost, the O'Neill identity survived. Today, there are O'Neills scattered across every continent on Earth, a global reminder that Irish royalty was never defeated. It simply spread its incredible ancient legacy across the world. Chapter 4: The O'Connors of Connacht. We now travel west toward the rugged, unforgettable beauty of Connacht, where we find another dynasty whose name still thunders through time: the O'Connors. Their Gaelic name, O'Controvair, is wonderfully wild, meaning descendant of Controvar, which itself translates to wolf lover or lover of hounds, a primal title that immediately hints at their deep warrior roots and their connection to the wild heart of Ireland. For centuries, the O'Connors were the uncontested kings of Connacht, one of Ireland's 4 great provinces, operating from their massive stone strongholds at the historic royal site of Rathcrogan. Their lineage was so potent that it produced not just one, but 2 of the last high kings of Ireland, including the hugely important Turlough O'Connor, who reigned during the crucial 12th century. Turlough was a true medieval leader. He didn't just fight. He also built incredible churches, passionately fostered Gaelic art and poetry, and desperately defended Irish sovereignty right as foreign influences began to arrive on the island. Crucially, even after the arrival of the Norman invaders changed Ireland forever, the O'Conors refused to vanish. They were survivors who adapted and intermarried, ensuring they remained powerful regional lords with a hold over their territory. To this very day, the name O'Conor is intensely concentrated across Western Ireland, particularly in counties like Roscommon, Mayo, and Galway, and their story is the foundation for countless Irish-American families who proudly carried this ancient royal identity across the Atlantic during the great waves of migration, proving their loyalty to Connacht is forever. Chapter 5. The O'Sullivans of Munster. Our final ancient name, and perhaps the one with the most powerful story of sheer human resilience, is O'Sullivan, or O'Suillabine. This mighty clan rose to dominance in the deeply beautiful but rugged southwest of Ireland, particularly within the counties of Cork and Kerry. The name itself is thought to mean hawk-eyed, perfectly symbolizing the sharp vision and fierce leadership this family was known for. They were part of the ancient Ilganachta dynasty that ruled southern Ireland for centuries, but their true fame comes not from a battle won, but a monumental journey of survival. This epic tale began after the disastrous Battle of Kinsale in 1601, when the O'Sullivans fought fiercely against the overwhelming English forces. When they were finally defeated, their chief, Donald Cam O'Sullivan Bear, refused to surrender. Instead, he led about 1,000 of his remaining people, men, women, and children, on a long, tragic march from the far edge of West Cork all the way to County Leitrim in the north, over 300 miles away. They were hunted every step of the way, battling starvation, winter storms, and hostile enemies. Only 35 people completed that horrific journey, but the action itself became legendary, an eternal tale of loyalty and defiance that still echoes across Ireland today. Despite losing their vast lands and powerful status, the O'Sullivans successfully passed their name down through every subsequent hardship, ensuring that O'Sullivan remains one of the most common and cherished surnames today. Their story proves that even when you lose everything, you never have to lose your name. Chapter 6. The O'Donnells, Lords of Donegal. To conclude our journey through the oldest surviving Irish history, we head back north to the dramatic, rugged coastline of Donegal to encounter the legendary clan of the O'Donnells, or O'Donnell. The sheer ambition and power of this family is written into their name, which means descendant of Domhnall, a phrase that literally translates to world mighty. This was certainly a fitting title for the kings of Tirchonale, modern-day County Donegal. The O'Donnells ruled from the imposing Donegal Castle, and were constantly at the center of power, acting as both crucial allies and fierce rivals to the O'Neills of Ulster. Their most famous son, Red Hugh O'Donnell, became a towering national hero for his relentless resistance against the growing English power in the late 1500s. His life was an epic. He was captured by the English, imprisoned in Dublin Castle, and then executed a daring escape, fleeing barefoot through the freezing snow to rally his people to war. Even after this heroic resistance failed, the O'Donnells were among the greatest figures who took part in the famous Flight of the Earls in 1607, choosing voluntary exile over surrender. They left Ireland as kings but went globally. Their descendants. Chapter 7. The O'Carrolls, Keepers of Tradition. Moving toward the heartland of Ireland, we encounter one of the oldest and most consistently fascinating Gaelic families, the O'Carrolls, or O'Cherbal. The meaning of their name, fierce in battle, immediately tells you about their origins, as they were the ruling chiefs of Ely O'Carroll, a kingdom that stretched across what is now parts of Offaly and Tipperary. However, what truly sets the O'Carrolls apart is not just their military strength, but what they chose to protect and nurture. They were famed throughout Ireland as generous patrons of music, poetry, and traditional Gaelic learning, ensuring that the culture, the soul of Ireland, survived even the hardest times. The center of their power was their castle at Leap, a massive, intimidating fortress whose history is filled with both incredible beauty and terrifyingly bloody family feuds. This legacy has earned Leap Castle the reputation today of being one of the most intensely haunted places in the entire world, adding a dark, captivating chapter to the family's story. Even after they lost their political power and vast lands during the intense English conquests, the O'Carroll name endured because their descendants never stopped serving as keepers of Irish identity. They became prominent priests, scholars, and musicians, carrying the memory of the ancient kingdom into the modern age through art and knowledge. So, when you hear the name O'Carroll today, don't just think of warriors. Think of the powerful storytellers, the passionate poets, and the steadfast guardians of Ireland's irreplaceable cultural soul. Chapter 8. The McCarthys of Cork. Our final stop in the study of ancient dynasties brings us to the mighty McCarthys, or Mac Carthae, a name that carries one of the most heartwarming meanings, literally, sons of the loving one, or the charitable. The McCarthys were once the uncontested great kings of Desmond, a vast kingdom that encompassed much of modern-day County Cork and Kerry. For more than 500 years, they ruled as fiercely proud and cultured Gaelic kings, resisting attempts to take their independence. As a lasting monument to their power and influence, the McCarthy dynasty famously built Blarney Castle, home to the legendary Blarney Stone. As the story goes, kissing this stone grants the gift of eloquence, a powerful charm that many believe the McCarthys themselves possessed, allowing them to speak persuasively and rule effectively. As English power grew across the island, the McCarthys fought back with immense courage, but eventually, even their great territories were lost. Yet, the loss of land did not erase their identity. Today, the McCarthy name remains incredibly rooted in the southwest of Ireland, symbolizing a powerful blend of charm, generosity, and warrior courage, all the noble traits that the ancient word Carthaig was always meant to represent. The McCarthys prove that a name can be more enduring than any stone fortress. Chapter 9. The Kennedys. An ancient name with a global story. To finish our history, we must look at a name that achieved true global immortality. Kennedy. Although recognized worldwide as the name of America's most famous political dynasty, it is, in fact, one of Ireland's very oldest surnames. In the Gaelic language, it is Cinedi, meaning descendant of Cinedi, a title which powerfully translates to helmeted head, immediately calling up the image of a seasoned warrior. The original Kennedys began as a proud royal family in Thomond, sharing close blood ties with the powerful O'Briens of Clare. They were known throughout the centuries as fierce fighters and shrewd, intelligent leaders, successfully spreading their influence and settling across counties like Tipperary, Limerick, and Kilkenny. Like so many Irish families, the Kennedys carried their identity across the ocean when emigrants fled the terrible famine of the 19th century, establishing themselves strongly in the United States. There, the name achieved ultimate fame through figures like President John F. Kennedy, who never failed to speak passionately about his deep Irish roots. Long before they entered the White House and the political history books, the Kennedys were already kings, poets, and warriors, a living, powerful bridge connecting the ancient Gaelic world to the modern global story. Chapter 10. The Murphys. Children of the Sea. We end with a name that is perhaps the most famous and most common of them all, Murphy, or Omerchada. Despite its familiarity, this is absolutely one of Ireland's most ancient and powerful surnames. Its meaning is beautifully evocative. It translates to descendant of Murchad, a personal name combining the Gaelic words for sea and warrior, making the Murphys literally the sea warriors. This heritage began in the southeast of Ireland, primarily in Wexford and Carlow, where they were among the first powerful clans to stand up and resist the initial Norman invasions. Their deep connection to the sea gave them both opportunity and danger. They served as traders and soldiers, rebels, and most famously, as determined emigrants. During the darkest times of the Great Famine, untold numbers of Murphys boarded those notorious coffin ships bound for America, Canada, and Australia, a journey that earned them the nickname, with great respect, of the Wandering Clan. Yet, even as they sailed away and spread across continents, the Murphy name never weakened or faded. Today, this simple, common name is found in every corner of the Irish diaspora, carrying within it the 1,000-year history of a people defined by their deep courage, their connection to the vast ocean, and their astonishing ability to survive every challenge fate threw at them. Chapter 11. The O'Malleys, the Sea Queen's bloodline. Few ancient names inspire as much raw admiration and excitement as O'Malley, or O'Mal, a name that simply means descendant of the noble chief. The O'Malleys were not just lords of the land, they were masters of the sea, commanding powerful fleets of ships that sailed out from the beautiful Clew Bay in County Mayo on Ireland's rugged western coast. Their power flowed with the tides, giving them immense control over trade and travel. But within this dynasty, one figure stands head and shoulders above all others: Grace O'Malley. Known in Irish as Grian Mall, the legendary pirate queen of Ireland, in the 16th century, she became a national icon for her fierce and absolute defiance of English rule. She was a master strategist, a ruthless privateer who commanded hundreds of men, and a powerful matriarch. In one of the most famous moments in Irish history, she sailed directly to England and met Queen Elizabeth I face to face, famously refusing to bow to the English monarch. Grace O'Malley was a warrior, a brilliant leader, and a defiant mother who embodied the very spirit of Irish freedom. Her descendants still proudly bear the O'Malley name today, a powerful, living reminder that Ireland's enduring history was shaped not only by its great kings, but by its magnificent queens of the sea. Chapter 12, The MacMahons, Warriors of Thomond. We close our survey of Ireland's ancient lineages with one of the most resilient and warrior-focused Gaelic families, the MacMahons, or Mac-Math-Gamna. We find their origins split between the ancient kingdom of Thomond in County Clare and the fiercely independent region of Monaghan in Ulster. The meaning of their name is incredibly potent. It translates directly to Son of the Bear, a powerful symbol of brute strength, unwavering courage, and determined territorial defense. Initially, they served as key lords within Thomond under the mighty O'Briens, but their ambition and strength soon allowed them to establish themselves as independent rulers in their own right further north. The MacMahons were known throughout history as fierce defenders of Irish sovereignty, placing them right at the forefront of the bitter resistance during the turbulent 16th century, a time when standing your ground meant risking everything. Because of their determined opposition to the growing English power, many MacMahon leaders faced execution or were forced into exile, losing their lands but never their identity. Visual suggestion image of a Gaelic warrior or a bear crest. Yet this ancient family refused to be broken, adapting, surviving, and carrying their storied name proudly through the centuries, both at home and abroad. Today, the MacMahon name can still be found robustly across Ireland and the world, a quiet, powerful echo of the old bear's roar, and a testament to their enduring, unyielding spirit of survival.